Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Arjun Chaudhary. Here are the top stories they're tracking for you on Monday, the 22nd of December. Protests grow against Pakistan's Red Mosque cleric. Death sentence of 500 terrorists soon to be executed in Pakistan. And residents shiver as mercury continues to plummet in North India. And now for all the details. The Pakistan government has confirmed that the security given to the Taliban-linked Red Mosque in capital Islamabad has been withdrawn. This comes as hundreds continue to protest against the mosque's chief cleric for his refusal to condemn the recent Peshawar Army School attack.
Civil society activists continue to protest outside the controversial Red Mosque in Islamabad. Hundreds have been assembling outside its complex since last week after Chief Cleric Maulana Abdul Aziz refused to condemn the Taliban attack on the Peshawar Army School that killed over 142 people. Aziz, who is known to be a sympathizer of the Pakistan Taliban, had also recently pledged support to Islamic State militants. Protesters said the government should crack down on religious centers that are promoting terrorism.
I'm protesting because I feel these places are nurseries for all the terrorists, and our strategy to deal with terrorism in a reactive way is wrong. If we are going to deal with this problem, it has to be dealt at a level when extremism is being taught.
Pakistan's Interior Minister Chaudhry Nisar Ali Khan said the security cover given to the cleric since 2011 has been withdrawn.
वो साहब फिर वहां बैठे हुए हमारे से पहले 3 हुकूमतें आईं और मुझे कल पता चला कि 2011 से इनको सिक्योरिटी भी फराहम है जो मैंने कल विड्रॉ की.
The Red Mosque first made headlines in 2007 after a standoff between its armed radical students of its madrasa and the government. Some 154 people, mostly students of the seminary, and Aziz's brother Ghazi Abdul Rashid were killed in the crackdown that lasted for 8 days.
As curtains came down on elections in 2 Indian provinces over the weekend, exit polls forecast a hung verdict in the militancy-hit northern province of Jammu and Kashmir, while predicting a complete victory for the Bharatiya Janata Party in the resource-rich province of eastern Jharkhand. The official results will be declared on Tuesday. A report.
Even with Indian Prime Minister as its star campaigner, the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party could fail to form a government in the insurgency-ravaged northern state of Jammu and Kashmir. According to exit polls, the BJP is expected to sweep a significant 25 to 30 seats in the 87-seat assembly, but will still fall short of claiming a majority. Instead, it's the regional People's Democratic Party that's leading the pack. The PDP has gained popularity with voters after it had shifted its campaign focus from self-rule to the more central issue of economic development. But Narendra Modi's party has denounced the credibility of these initial forecast numbers. It's confident of a victory in the restive border state.
Bharatiya Janata Party is confident that we would do exceedingly well in Jammu and Kashmir and will give a befitting reply to all the 3 political parties, that is the PDP, the NC and the National Congress, who have been exchanging power in Jammu and Kashmir only for the bad of Jammu and Kashmir. We will come to power tomorrow.
Political observers agree the BJP have come a long way from being a bit player in the country's only Muslim-dominated state. It hopes to win all 37 seats in the Hindu-dominated Jammu region by wooing migrant Kashmiri Pandits who had been forced to leave the valley in the late 90s due to separatist violence. But they say Mr. Modi's Hindu Nationalist Party is still miles from gaining a clear mandate from voters in Jammu and Kashmir.
देखिए, आज तक कोई प्रधानमंत्री जिनके में जिस तरह से इन्होंने किया, जिस तरह से कैंपेन किया और जितना समय वहां गुजारा, अभी तक कोई नहीं गुजारा था, इन्होंने गुजारा. और फारूक अब्दुल्ला साहब की सरकार से बहुत नाराजगी थी, तो उसका फायदा कुछ मिलेगा, लेकिन वहां भी इनकी सरकार वगैरह नहीं बनी.
Meanwhile, the exit polls have predicted a clear victory for the BJP in the eastern state of Jharkhand, which has been under coalition governments since its formation in 2000. It remains part of the Red Corridor, where an ongoing conflict between communist Maoist groups and the Indian government has resulted in hundreds of casualties.
Pakistan government is mooting the execution of nearly 500 death row convicts, its Interior Ministry has said. The country has already hanged 6 people ever since a moratorium on capital punishment for terror-related death sentences was lifted last week following the brutal attack on a Peshawar school.
At least 55 people, whose mercy plea was rejected by President Mamnoon Hussain, will be hanged in the coming days, Pakistan officials have said. Jails across the nation have been directed to make preparations for execution of some 500 people who have been on death row under the Terrorism Act.
97 कैदी सजाए मौत की है। इनमें से तो आपने मेरे ख्याल में पहले भी जिक्र किया गया कि 41 सुप्रीम कोर्ट में अपील है उसका, 41 का हाई कोर्ट में है और 14 मर्सिफिकेशन में सदर के पास रैम की अपील है। तो जब ये रैम का अपील सदर से मुस्तरद हो गया तो इंशाल्लाह इस पर फांसी का अमल दरामद होगा।
Pakistan carried out its first capital punishment in 6 years on Friday when 2 former military men were hanged in a Faisalabad jail. 4 more people convicted under the Terrorism Act for an attack on former President Pervez Musharraf were executed in the same prison on Sunday. The country lifted the moratorium on capital punishment last week following the dreaded December 16 attack. Relatives of the victims welcomed the government's move.
होनी चाहिए, क्यों नहीं होनी चाहिए? लोगों के इतने घर बर्बाद हो रहे हैं, लोगों के जवान जा रहे हैं, बच्चे जा रहे हैं, क्यों नहीं होनी चाहिए? ऐसे लोगों को उनके माँ बाप को भी पता चले और हमारे बच्चों को भी तहफ़्फ़ुज़ मिले। बहुत अच्छा इक़दाम है।
Most of the terrorists in Pakistan prisons are affiliated to the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan or the Lashkar-e-Islam. The Taliban, which claimed responsibility for the Peshawar school attack last week, has threatened to target children of political leaders if the government goes ahead with more acts of capital punishment.
India has reiterated its commitment to resolve the boundary issue with neighbouring Bangladesh. India also promised to increase the economic cooperation and connectivity with Bangladesh. A report.
Bangladesh President Abdul Hamid, who is on a 6-day official visit to India, reached provincial capital Kolkata after completing his tour of northwestern Rajasthan. In Ajmer, he offered prayers at the revered 13th century shrine of Sufi saint Khwaja Muinuddin Chishti. He had also visited Pink City, Jaipur earlier in the day. President Hamid, who began his India trip on Friday, had met his Indian counterpart Pranab Mukherjee and Prime Minister Narendra Modi too. President Mukherjee, who hosted an honorary dinner, also handed over an audio-visual gift comprising clippings from the 1971 Liberation War to President Hamid. The visit follows a historic understanding between the two countries to swap land to resolve the long-standing boundary issue. According to the proposed land boundary agreement, 161 enclaves will be exchanged to redraw the international border.
India has entered the club of global warship market after exporting its first indigenous warship to Mauritius. The offshore patrol vessel, or OPV, is the first order ever received by India from another country.
India is all set to export 2 warships to Sri Lanka after its very first delivery on Saturday. Breaching its export barrier, India handed over its very first indigenous corvette-class warship, Barracuda, to Mauritius at a ceremony in Eastern Dock of Kolkata. The $58.5 million OPV, weighing 1,300 tons, is designed for multi-purpose roles like providing logistic support to distant island and monitoring Mauritian waters against piracy, smuggling, illegal fishing and drug trafficking. Describing it as a red-letter day in the history of shipbuilding in India, India's junior defence minister said it proves that the industry has come of age.
This is the first time that the export barrier has been breached. We are exporting this ship to Mauritius, and I think this will be the first in a long line of ships that we hope to export from our country to various other countries of the world.
The next 2 orders from Sri Lanka are being readied at Goa shipyard. The country has so far made 92 warships for the Indian Navy and Coast Guard. It has also gifted some to smaller Indian Ocean countries like Maldives and Seychelles.
Power has been restored in Pakistan's southern Sindh after the province faced a nearly 12-hour blackout on Sunday. The power outage caught the residents of Karachi, Hyderabad and Sukkur off guard, throwing routine life out of gear and affecting water lines too. The power failure also knocked out supplies to hospitals and business units. While some blamed heavy fog for the massive breakdown, others said the national transmission line stripped due to technical fault. Though restoration of electricity began soon after, many localities had to wait for hours. Sunday's power failure also affected several regions in nearby province of Balochistan. They did not require a racing track. All they had was a flight of stairs. Take a look at what kept India's Western Mumbai on its toes this time.
Some race through the winning line, but some prefer to do it differently. Defying gravity, enthusiasts in commercial capital Mumbai participated to conquer Skyscraper on Sunday. The marathon titled Skyscraper Dash saw runners from all age groups climbing the city's tallest 52-story tower, the Kohinoor Square, with a vertical height of 656 feet. The Mount Everest Challenge had participants forming a team of up to 6 people to complete the race within 4 hours. Contenders said vertical running had health benefits as well.
आपका जब आप सीधे भागते हो तो आप अगर ऊपर भागते हो तो बॉडी को एक प्रॉपर बैलेंस मिलता है एंड देन यू गेट फिट योर बॉडी बिकम योर मसल्स बिकम स्ट्रॉन्गर इंड्योरेंस आपका बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग हो जाता है तो आई बिलीव स्टेयर्स इनफैक्ट सबको करना चाहिए और whoever especially those who are runners.
The unique marathon, which began in New York's Empire State Building, has already been held in Dubai as well. A skyscraper dash kicked off in India from Tech Hub Bangalore in June before arriving in Mumbai.
A fresh spell of Himalayan snow has left most of North India under a severe cold wave and dense fog. The white blanket has disrupted road and rail traffic too.
As the cold wave continues to intensify in North India, Delhi Heights in the national capital woke up to its coldest day this year on Sunday at a minimum of 4.8 degrees Celsius. Monday too remained chilly with minimum temperature hovering at 5.7 degrees Celsius as more frosty conditions are expected to be in store. Biting cold conditions also prevailed unabated in northern Shimla with temperatures around 5 degrees. Lakes and other natural sources of water like springs, rivulets and tributaries of major rivers remain frozen, causing a shortage at various places.
आज बहुत हैवी बर्फ हुई जो इससे पानी पाइपें जाम हो गई है, पानी आज आया नहीं है और फिसलन बहुत हो गई है.
Early risers and school goers in Moradabad struggled too. The cold wave and low visibility, the first of the season, has kept away many motorists from venturing out. For those who did, it was no less than a nightmare.
गाड़ी चलाते हुए लोगों को परेशानी हो रही है. अभी तक ठंड नहीं पड़ी है, लेकिन आज ठंड का आसार दिखाई दे रहे हैं कि अब ठंड शुरू हुई है.
People in northern Kanpur also reeled under acute conditions. The prevailing fog disrupted rail traffic and travellers remained stranded at railway stations due to delay in train schedules.
बहुत दिक्कतें हो रही हैं, ट्रेनें काफ़ी लेट हैं. हम लोग सुबह जो है 6 बजे आ गए थे. गोमती लेट है, समझ लीजिए 4 घंटे.
Northern Srinagar in the foothills of Himalayas, however, turned into a picture of Christmas season. The summer capital of Jammu and Kashmir saw a surge in tourist footfalls after a fresh snowfall brought the Celsius down over 0 degrees. Met officials have said temperatures will continue to dip due to strong velocity ice winds lashing northern India for the next few days.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude the top stories once again. Protests grow against Pakistan's Red Mosque cleric. Death sentence of 500 terrorists soon to be executed in Pakistan. And residents shiver as mercury continues to plummet in North India. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.